I thought it was really interesting because it really puts in perspective the amount of people and casualties that were suffered throughout just the battles. Because on paper you can hear the numbers, but you don't understand just how big of an event and travesty it was.
Yeah. Okay. How's it been working with Germans?
Well, it was really interesting because you actually meet people from lots of different cultures, speak lots of different languages, learn a little bit of German, not much, but very interesting.
Yeah, but one of those was a former enemy. 100 years ago, you'd have been fighting each other. Your thoughts on that?
It just shows that we can grow, and if we work together, it's a better world.
Brilliant. Right. Is it an experience you would like to carry on and do something like it again?
Yeah, if I had a chance to do it again, I would. Because it was, like I said, it was nothing I've ever experienced before. Because it's just nothing really like it.
So quite a bit of money was spent by our organisation to get you here.
Yeah.
Do you think it was worth the money we spent?
Yeah, I think it was worth every penny because it just puts everything in perspective. It just shows you how much work and everything went into that war and effort.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you for bringing me out here.
That's all right, Oliver.
Yeah, it was incredible. Yeah, we all the trips to the graveyards. It's all really important. What we did was really important because all the people losing their lives is obviously tragic. So it's important that in the future that hopefully there's no more fighting and you're able to honour the people in peace. So yeah, it was just incredible. Like the museum especially as well. Not just honouring people, but learning what they experienced as well was it's really important. It was really special. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I think I asked you this at the one of the cemeteries, and we were talking about how recruiting sergeants went on stages and went touring and encouraging people to join up at a very young age. Yeah. And calling them cowards if they didn't, whatever. Don't think about what happens today. Yeah. Do you think you'd have been the sort of person who 106 years ago would have said, "Yeah, go for it. I'd like to do that"?
Well, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people, I'm sure that signed up were quite. They didn't really know what to expect, because
Not sure any of them did.
Yeah, no, obviously a lot of stories recorded that people just signed up because they thought it would be a good experience. They didn't realise I don't know, the cruelness of it. Yeah. So myself now, I'd be quite. I think me and myself, I'd be quite a coward, to be fair. I wouldn't. But at the same time, me now, I kind of think it's important to honour your country and fight for what you think's right. But back in 106 years ago, I would have been there because people don't know what it's like. People didn't know what it's like. So it's really important to. I think any age or any year when there's a war, you gotta pluck up that courage to go and fight.
Okay. So there's a lot of money spent getting you out here.
Yeah.
Right? I know you made a contribution on Mum's death, but a lot of money was put in. Would you like to say to the people who raised that money that it was value for money?
No, yeah, massive value for money. All the trips we went to, it was totally value for money. I'd do it again in a heartbeat, and I'd be happy to pay for it in future.
And we're going to give you the opportunity, aren't we?
Yeah, so, hopefully.
Right, so I come to the final question. If you, and this is probably something for a couple of weeks' time when we send you a feedback form, but immediate reaction now is one thing that stuck out in your mind about the whole weekend. Just one thing.
I've said it a lot already, but honour massively, because honouring the people that have fought in the war and honouring the people that have experienced such cruelty and shocking, definitely the one word to describe it is honour or respect, because it's like immediately You're seeing all the graves. So yeah, yes,
Well done.
absolutely incredible. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sam.
It's been really interesting to discover more about the Somme, which I definitely did not know before, and really get an insight into how awful it actually was.
Yeah.
And hearing figures and stuff like that in the classroom is one way, but when you actually see all of the memorials, you do get an insight to what it was actually like, and the figures turn into something very real very quickly.
Okay. If I were to say to you, you've been obviously to a lot of different things. Is at this moment in time, is there one thing that stands out as being something you'll remember for a long, long time?
I feel like as though the crater on the first day that we went, I feel like that will stick out to me the most, as I feel, especially when we had all the memorial and everything, it felt like it was touching a lot of people, and as you can see, like the magnitude of it all, you did get an insight into what it was actually like, and I felt a sort of an emotional response to that.
Absolutely great. A lot of money has been put in by different people and organisations to make this trip happen for you. If I were to go back tomorrow and say, was it value for money, what would you say?
Most definitely. I've had a very interesting weekend, which I would have not had without it, and the stuff that we've done is beyond what I was expecting, and I've had an amazing weekend.
So, are you anyway going to go back and do any personal research for your family or anything else like that to see if any of your relatives are buried here somewhere?
I definitely would. I've got from the cemeteries that we've been to, I've got some photos of some of the stones in which I would like to find more information about. For example, like a colonel that I discovered, and I would like to discover how he got into the military and how everything.
Yeah. Okay. So as far as you're concerned, it was a very worthwhile weekend for you.
Definitely. I've very much enjoyed myself.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for your time talking to us tonight.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Callum Douglas.
Where are you from, Callum?
I'm from Wickford, Essex, in England.
Okay.
I think it's been like really interesting because you sort of, at school, your teachers can tell you all the numbers and everything, but it doesn't actually put into perspective what everything's actually like. Because if they tell you how many deaths like there are in the war or whatever, it doesn't really mean much. But if you go to a cemetery and you see all of the graves just lined up, it's like a lot more real.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
When we discussed, I think we discussed this morning, if you go back 106 years ago, yeah, with people calling you a coward if you didn't go, yeah, your heroes saying, come on, I'm going, you coming with me. Do you think, in your own mind, would that have affected your decision making? Would you have gone?
Yeah, because everyone's making it out to be this great thing where you sort of get fed, you help your country, but there's nothing to tell you what it's actually like and how bad it really was.
So that would have affected your decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Right. So obviously now, knowing what you know now, yeah, and the horror, is it something you would consider if somebody came to you and asked you the same thing again now?
No, I would not go.
Mostly not.
Mm-mm.
That's good. Okay. Now, if I asked you, of all the things you've seen and done, is there one thing at the moment that stands out in your mind as being the most memorable thing you've done?
Yeah.
What would it be?
Sort of like when you were reliving the start of the Battle of the Somme and all the bombs like went up in the air,
Yeah.
and you kind of just look around and you see a massive crater just laying there. So that's when you realise how big it actually is.
Right.
So I don't think you could have, if a teacher told me how big it was in like kilometres, I'd be like, wow, it's quite big. But I come and I see it and I'm like, it's pretty huge.
Pretty big, wasn't it?
Scary.
Given a chance I don't know whether you will be given a chance, but if you were given a chance to come and do something like this again, would you like that?
Yeah.
Something would be that right. So a lot of people put a lot of money aside to help you get here this weekend. I know your mum and dad paid a bit of money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who've raised money and given you the opportunity to get here. Yeah. If I go back to them tomorrow and said, was it worthwhile? Was it value for money? What would you say to them?
I would say yeah, because you sort of got it all there, and you have all these resources where you can just see everything, and it's all really like inclusive. You're never really doing nothing. You're always out and about, and you never really know what to expect next. It's quite exciting.
Lovely. All right. Thank you for your time. Okay.
Yeah, really
Yeah?
enjoyed it.
It was worthwhile coming.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Right. So, what are your feelings about having gone to all the places? Have you got anything in particular that you've got any feelings about?
It's really like emotional to think about, like how many people actually died and things during the war, because like when you're told like just facts and figures about it, it's not as like real as when like you actually go to like the places and see like the cemeteries and things.
Okay. Is there anything now, if you look back at the things that you visited and saw, that will stick in your mind more than anything else? We're going to send you a feedback form, so you've got time to think about it another day.
Yeah.
But your impressions tonight, is there something you can think, yeah, that was the most important thing I learnt or did or saw?
I think it was like maybe like going to all the trenches, seeing what like soldiers were actually in during the battles,
Yeah.
and like understanding what their living conditions were really like,
Yeah.
and seeing and like going to the cemeteries and seeing like how many soldiers could never be identified and things.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that will be the most
Yeah.
thing to stand out now. One of the things we haven't discussed at all was the role of women in the war.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've got a book about a nurse who was actually serving on the front line. So she was a very prim and proper lady from a middle class family and all the rest of it. She volunteered to go and repair soldiers and was completely blown away by the injuries, the scale of the injuries, mutilated bodies, and really at the start of the war didn't know how to cope. Yeah? Would you have, if you'd have been alive at that time, do you think you'd have volunteered to go and help like that?
Possibly, because it's like helping others, and like when you think about it, like everyone's effort during the war really counted.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but this nurse I'm talking about, who came from Essex, by the way, was actually on the front line. So she was trying to carry out minor operations and bandaging and things under fire herself.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just the boys and men that were.
Yeah.
She wasn't fighting.
No.
But she was actually involved in the conflict. Yeah. That was very scary, I would imagine.
You had to be really brave.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes. If we said to you now, a lot of money's been raised to help you with this experience, and a lot of money put aside and helped you out to get here. If I go back to those people tomorrow and say, was it value for money? What would you say to that?
1,000% yes.
Yeah?
I feel like I've got a lot out of like coming here and going to like where wars took place. It's because it feels like very real, and like you can relate more to the experiences, which makes it easier to understand what happened.
So perhaps back at school when people start banding figures about and this and that, you've got more of an understanding of what that actually means rather than just being a set of numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's been really worthwhile for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
Would you do something like it again?
Yeah.
Have you got any intentions of looking with your family to see if you've got any relatives that may have been here? or something like it?
It's definitely something to consider.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So
probably.
it takes a lot of research.
Yeah.
You might want to think about it with your family and discuss it with them.
Yeah.
That'd be good.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you
Okay.
for having me.
No, that's all right. It's been a pleasure.
Hiya, I'm Chloe Hammond, and I think the whole trip has really put into perspective the numbers, because like you're just told like 72,000, but not until you stand there and you see all the graveyards do you actually realise how many people that actually is, and all the people connected to them, because it's all very well seeing a number like the number 1, but then you realise that that's someone's father, that's someone's son, that's someone's brother, that's someone's uncle. It really puts it into perspective, and I think it's really...
Okay. I know you're going to get a feedback form to fill in, which might take a couple of weeks. Okay, so you'll have time to think about the answer to this next question. But your immediate thought, if I were to say to you, all the things you've done this weekend, does one thing stand out more than anything else?
I think the crater, because we learned about it in our lessons about the Somme, and it's like, oh, it's a crater. You stand there at the edge and it's ridiculous, because you can see it from just like walking up, and you can see how wide it is, but you look down, you look how deep it is, and you just realise how much that would affect. And like we were told that it would have been heard in Wales, and when the ceremony we attended, they did some fireworks, and even that was enough to hurt my ears. I can't imagine it being loud enough to be heard in Wales.
Not sure about Wales. It certainly was in London.
London.
But, yeah, it's yeah. Well,
Perspective.
maybe. Okay, so one of the things we didn't discuss, sadly, over the weekend, you know, I've done trips like this for more than a week. Yeah. One of the things we didn't talk about was the role of women. Yeah. One of the things that I'm going to give one of your teachers is a book that I've got of a nurse that was serving on the front line. So she was actually, what she was doing was repairing bodies. So people like today, injured, being brought back. Yeah, she was then bandaging. She was doing minor operations, but she was on the front line. So she was under fire too. So when artillery shells were coming over, it came very close to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we talk about the bravery of the young men. What about bravery of the young women? Not just being under fire, but seeing a mutilated body and trying to deal with it.
Yeah.
If that opportunity had arisen with you, would you take it?
It depends. It would depend my situation, because of course I'd love to like defend my country and help out and stuff like that. But for me personally, I think that nursing is a massive job in itself, and my heart goes out to everyone with like the NHS crisis, everyone who is a doctor and everyone who is a nurse, extremely talented. I think though that I think I could be of better use if I was actually on the army. I think I'd be better use at sea or navy or aircraft.
Interesting.
I think my skills would be better used there.
Yeah.
Because I can't do the sight of blood. I think I'd be better used at sea, since I have sea legs.
Yeah, no, that's a really interesting observation. So that was that. Right. So a lot of money has been put aside by different people raising money to help you out.
Thank you.
To come here. No, not me. Not just me. I wasn't saying it for that reason. What I'm saying is a lot of money was raised. If I go back to report to them tomorrow about what happened this weekend, would you say to them it was value for money?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the experiences that we went on and like going around the museums and stuff like that, I think it was definitely value for money. We only did it. We paid £100 for 4 days away in France. That's like very, very much value for money. It was almost like too far under, because it's an amazing trip, and the experiences and the memories, and also how much it really affects you as a person.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I'd be able to look at war the same again as just a bunch of numbers to memorise to write in my tests.
Yeah.
You look at it as this many people rather than this number of soldiers.
Has it, by being on the visits that we've done, has it raised any other questions inside you to question, or you know, not you said a number. Anybody can write a number. You know, Dean's quiz last night was a list of numbers. But has it been now more than just a set of numbers?
Yeah.
to you? Has it made you think more about, say, people's lives, conditions that they lived in? Yeah.
I think looking around the trenches was really interesting because you always hear like how terrible it was in them, and you look at them and you try to imagine, and then you realise you can't imagine because you take one look at those ditches, which is what they are. You take one look at them and you just realise I can't possibly imagine, but it helps you to realise what kind of conditions they were in because you don't see any toilets anywhere, you don't see any bathrooms, you don't see any remains of those buildings. You just see a bunch of ditches which would have been muddy and wet and cold.
A lot of the soldiers, when they wrote their memoirs about what it was like in the war, their main topic normally is boredom. Because we talk about fighting.
Yeah.
Might be there was only one battle in 2 months. What were they doing the rest of the time? Yeah, they're not allowed out to go anywhere. They can't go and play football, or they just have to sit there guarding the wall. Nothing's happening. Yeah. So a lot of them. One of the interesting things I noticed at the Great Wall Museum in Meaux in France was how many of them took to doing art. Would you believe?
Yeah,
I actually saw a chess set made out of bits of shrapnel.
I didn't see the chess set.
Yeah.
I saw the really pretty handcrafted vase which looked like it had cornflowers on it. That was really pretty. I really liked it.
Yeah. So actually, it's trying to find things to do, but not necessarily fighting. It was that was horrific. Yeah. But a lot of the time, it was nothing to do. Yeah. So there was that element to it as well.
Yeah.
But anyway. You'll get a feedback form to ask you to give us more information about any of the visits that you did. But the value for money bit is important for the people who've helped to sponsor this. Yeah? If they think you've got a lot out of it and it's meant something to you, then hey, you've done a good job. Yeah? And you think we have, yeah?
I really think you have. It's especially made me look at it and realise that, like, with all the unknown to God graves, it just made me realise that, like, I'm standing here today because they sacrificed their lives, and I could be standing in front of one of my relatives' graves, and I wouldn't even know. And I think that, again, I don't keep repeating the number, but you see the number and you just realise so many of those people were known, but at the same time they weren't.
Yeah.
Which is like really sad.
Which is really sad.
It's horrible, really. Yeah. But.
And of course, the 72,000 is a number that trips off. But if we take, for example, the South African cemetery that we looked at,
yeah.
We just looked. I don't know how many were in there, but it looked like an enormous number, and yet that's just a microcosm of all the places we visited. But they're still people.
The German cemetery really moved me, especially how they're not funded properly and how they can't, like, with the big plots at the back that had 25,000 people in them each. I just thought I really thought it wasn't right. I thought it wasn't humane that they didn't all have their own graves and that a lot of people shared ones. And I'm glad that they have something. I'm glad that they do have something, and I understand that it's tight for money. But I think that if I could ask for anything, I think I'd ask for them to have a more proper, more recognition. Yeah. Because it's not all the Germans' fault, which I think getting to socialise with the German family, and I've made friends with them. I think so many times it's all like, oh, the Germans. It's not the Germans, it's their political parties, because they're fighting for their political parties because they've been told to, and if they don't, they will die. And they're fighting for their lives just like we're fighting for their lives. It's scared people against scared people.
Yeah. One of my, he's not here this weekend, but the dad here is a friend of his, but I've often thought, the length of time I've known Thomas, that had he and I been born in a different age, we'd have been fighting each other. And I question all the time, how could I fight him? He's such a lovely guy. You know, I couldn't possibly envisage fighting against him.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky that I was born when I was, rather than back then. Because, as you say, ordinary people, it doesn't matter what nationality they are, ordinary people, there's some nasty people and some lovely people, they're no different to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good, and I hope you take that away with you as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, lovely to talk to you.
Yeah.
Thank you ever so much.
No worries.
Hello, I'm Pascal from Heiligenhaus.
Thank you, Pascal. So you've been with us for the 4 days of the visit, well, be 4 days tomorrow. going around different cemeteries, museums, a ceremony at Lochnagar. Yeah. What are your general impressions as you go home tomorrow? What will you think about on your journey home? About your impressions this
It's very
weekend?
impressive for me to see how it is for other people to give the respect for all these people who must have died, and the number of the people. You heard of the numbers, but you don't recognize it. You see it. You see all the crosses. You see all the fields and on the cemeteries, and you get a feeling for it. How many it is. You get impressions of what has happened there because of all the craters, the front lines, and what has gone on here.
Okay. Is there, if you were to, I know this might be difficult at this point, but is there anything in particular that stood out for you? One of the visits, one of the sites you saw. Is there something that you could grasp onto now and said, actually, that's the one thing that's going to remain in my mind for a long time?
Yeah, the ceremony on the Lochnagar crater.
Yeah.
That impressed me most.
Okay.
The letter who was read from the grandson, and he shown the cross made of a bullet, I think.
Yeah.
He got tears in his eyes.
Yeah.
As he left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that impressed me very much.
That is something. I mean, obviously we've been saying never again.
Yeah.
I mean, the actual expression at the end of World War I was this was the war to end all war. Sadly, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Things keep repeating themselves, and so we think it's very important to take the kids to look back. It wasn't just history; it's a lesson in this is what humanity can do to each other, and we should do whatever we can to stop it. Yeah. The girl there was just said that the greatest bit of the visit that we did is we did it with you.
Yeah.
And we did it with French partners yesterday. So it wasn't just British kids talking about things, it was a collaborative effort and they've all mixed together. Your impressions on that side of it?
Yeah, we have to do more and more and more of this, so that we could get the feeling of not three nations, that we get the feeling of we are all one. There's language between us, there's no language between us, there's no nation between us, there are no borders between us. We are all Europeans. And this could be the right way to don't get anything like this what happened.
Yeah.
To get, never forget.
I mean, I put to one of the students that I've known you a very short time. I've known your friend Thomas for a long time.
Yeah.
And we have a drink together whenever we meet, and we have a laugh and talk. And I always say to them, if we had both been born in a different age, we'd have actually been fighting each other, not having a drink around the table.
Yeah.
And I personally cannot think of any reason why I would want to kill that guy or fight him even.
No. Even so, it's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just I don't comprehend it. It's something that just doesn't register up here. Why would I fight you?
Yeah.
And one of the girls actually just said, we always think, or I don't know if it's history books or whatever, but you always think that Germany were the enemy. They were the enemy. Why does that mean you've got to think of them as an enemy now? Yeah? They've spent a weekend with you and they've greatly enjoyed it. They've greatly enjoyed your kids. Just as normal kids would. The only difference is the language, but hey, they're all the same.
All the same. And language, you can build a bridge to do that.
Okay.
We all have to learn other languages. In Germany, we all learn English.
Yeah.
Perhaps in England they learn French or English. or German, and so it could be a bridge. And we seen yesterday they are playing football with French and with our kids, with the German kids, and they don't need a language. The sports is a language. What they can do together, that is their language.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And something we must work hard at promoting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we will, Pascal.
We will.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
So Sam, new teacher at Beauchamps. Not that new, but newish.
Newish, yeah.
First time doing something like this with our organisation, the Forget Never project. Yeah. So over the four days, as it will be tomorrow, what's been your first and general impression of the whole thing?
I've been really amazed by it. I think, especially from the kids, seeing the kids with it, the questions they were asking, going around the cemeteries, just the good question, like the actual engagement of it all. You don't, obviously, where we've had those conversations, explain it in the classroom, and then actually then seeing it. I think that's what's been the most interesting point.
Yeah. Have you been surprised? Because obviously I don't know the kids before today, and you probably taught a few of them.
Yeah.
Have any of them stood out as being, surprisingly not interested? Is the wrong word, but engaged with it?
No, especially the questions they were asking, because there's some of them that naturally, like the Chloe Hammonds, she's always talking less, but there's been a couple that I've not seen ask that many questions.
Yeah.
And then I think it was at the start there was, I think, a little bit more shy. Then as the weekend went on, especially today, a lot more questions being asked. That was really good to see.
So perhaps yesterday was a good grounding point.
Grounding point.
But today they were able to see things slightly differently. It was a big ceremony for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
With lots of people talking, some of which they couldn't hear perhaps, but I mean the good thing for me is obviously I can see a development there even now over 2 days. Yeah. What do you think about doing a project like this, working with French and Germans as well?
I think I think it's really good. I think especially more with both of them. I think we've had those conversations again, speaking to the German kids as well, seeing their engagement with that. They don't necessarily think on their side. We've not necessarily think from a British point of view, but they don't really think of it. Oh, what were they thinking? Especially that the man on the Lochner Crater with the speech, the kids listening to that. I thought that was really good. But I think it's just that development the way.
Do you think some of them have developed? Not more. It's hard to say more of an interest.
No,
They've got a different. They've got something more out of it.
I think they've seen it in a different light, which is making them engaged more. They've thought of it one way, and now suddenly they think, oh, it's opened up more questions and more interest into it.
Yeah. They've all said the same thing to me.
Yeah.
They asked the same question. That it brings to life.
Yeah.
What people were going through in that area, rather than just reading it in a book. Now, it's not critical. I'm not being critical.
No, but I agree. No, you can only do it from. You can only do it.
But it brings it more to life. And means something more. Yeah. Which means
no, absolutely.
We try and do this more often.
I think because we've got some of the pictures we have in our PowerPoints, but then for them to actually see it, and then we'll show a map of this is where the Battle of the Somme was. But then to actually go to those different places, they can actually see the grand scale of what was going on.
If you were to think about just one of the visits or bits that happened, is there one now at this moment? It might change when you think about it at home, but is there one thing that perhaps stands out as the most important thing you saw or witnessed or this weekend?
I think the very first thing we did, the Lochner Crater. I think seeing them like the ceremony, but then the kids going up, scattering, putting the petals out. I think that was a big moment I liked. And then when we came back late that day, when they were doing all the
prayers on the chair.
the prayers on the chairs, and everyone having all the different French, German.
I mean, we could have done that on our own, on a separate visit, but we wanted the kids involved in it because we want them to appreciate that it's their memorial.
That's what I like.
The memorial
it's a group
belongs
thing.
to them. It's not just ours. It belongs to them as well.
Yeah.
And that's why we think that's important.
Yeah, no, and I like that
my
idea.
vision is in another 20 years' time when they've got their own kids, they'll come back and show them.
Yeah, no, I like that idea. It's that their responsibility, looking after it.
Yeah.
I like that.
Lovely. You're doing it again?
Yep, hope so. Yep, yep, definitely.
Give them the chance to do it again. Well, because you'll have to make that happen, mate.
No, yeah.
But I'm so pleased that I'm really happy with the group you've got here.
Yeah, no, they've been a good bunch.
All different characters, I appreciate that, but I think they've all got something out of it.
And again, like, they're all sat on the first night.
Yeah.
A bit shy now, look at them.
Yeah. No, but I mean, it wasn't just for me, what makes it interesting is the interaction between the kids. I mean, you've got 2 kids from Woodlands here.
Yeah.
With your kids who would never have met before in any other circumstances, and they were feeling a bit out of it on the first day on the coach.
Yeah.
But now,
yeah,
well, they're
part of it, yeah.